and out of your car at 6.
A troubled child with no place to go.
You've lived with a lot of different people, and it didn't work out.
No, well, I did not want her to go into a foster home, and I adopted her.
A troubled aunt with a problem.
I was starting to do a little bit partying and wrong lifestyle for her.
But the real trouble was just beginning.
You took all of her money and spent it.
To get her school clothes.
You have to do that yourself. You're her mother.
Judge Judy.
There is something seriously wrong with you.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Schindler. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is her courtroom. This is Judge Judy. 16-year-old Angela Viers and her guardian, sales manager Patty Cooper, are suing Angela's adoptive mother, dietary manager Sherry Viers, for money taken from a settlement account.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 103 on the calendar, in the matter of Viers Cooper versus Viers. As a sworn in judge, you may be seated, sir. Have a seat, please.
Tell me your first name.
Angela?
Angela. Person that you're standing next to is your guardian.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
She's also a relative of yours. Is that right?
Yes.
How is she related to you?
She's my aunt.
And the defendant is your adoptive mother.
Yes.
And she's also related to you in some way, biologically. Tell me about that.
She's my aunt.
She's another aunt.
Yes.
And I gather from reading the complaint that you've lived with a lot of different people. Is that right?
Yes.
And you went to live with and was subsequently adopted by the defendant, your aunt, when you were how old?
14.
How old are you now?
16.
And how long did you live with her in total?
Approximately about a year. Maybe a little less.
And it didn't work out.
No.
And ultimately you came back to live with your other aunt, who is now your guardian,
Yes.
with your permission.
Yes.
This case is about a settlement that you had. When you were a little girl, you were bitten by a dog, and there was a lawsuit and a settlement. How much was that settlement?
Settlement was $9,000.
And there were a couple of withdrawals from that settlement for some small items. Is that right?
Correct.
Way back when you were younger. What were those items?
One, I believe, was going to the dentist or the orthodontist, checking out what damages there was done after things had healed. And then the second time was to pay a back medical bill from when the dog bite happened.
And this lawsuit is about the remainder of that money, which was how much when you adopted her?
It was $9,000 when we went into the bank, got the savings, and put it into our name.
And in the year that she lived with you,
Actually, she lived with me a little bit longer.
how much longer?
We got her when she was 13, and
Okay.
she stayed with us until she was 15. And then I went through a divorce, and I was starting to do a little bit of partying and wrong lifestyle for her. So that's when my sister came forward, and so I can get back on my feet again.
Ultimately, you took all of her money and spent it.
But I used it on her
For what?
for clothes. When my ex and I adopted her,
Uh-huh.
we weren't financially stable ourselves.
Then you shouldn't have adopted her.
Well, I did not want her to go into a foster home or anybody else. We wanted to keep her into our family.
Then you didn't have to adopt her. You could have taken her, you could have become her legal guardian.
I didn't even think about that.
Well, I don't care what you thought about, but when you adopt a child, you assume financial responsibility of the child. You can't take her money. What makes you think you can take her money?
But I understand that. I've been making payments for her dentist because I am reliable. So I've been making $90 monthly payments for her.
You took $9,000 of her money. How much was her dentist?
For her braces and stuff was $4,000.
Okay. Now, you could have left her money in this settlement account, in the minor account where it was, left that money there, and you could have petitioned the court. You say, I need some of this money to pay a dental bill, because she needs orthodontia as a result of it. That's fine. And the court would have given you, in all probability, the ability to take out that money, $4,000. So you got 9, you take away 4, leaves $5,000. Then she would have had $5,000. But just spend the rest of the money on.
But we used that to get her school clothes and her accidentals that she needed.
You have to do that yourself. You're her mother. Once you adopt a child, you become her parent. This settlement money is her money. It's her money for her future. It's not your money to spend. Don't you understand that?
Yes.
Then why did you do it?
Because when we adopted her, we thought that money was ours, so we can use that for her.
Well, let me ask you this question. Who had she lived with before?
My sister.
This sister.
Yes.
Oh, and she had $9,000. And how long had she lived with your sister?
Until she was 13.
Fine. Did your sister take out her money?
No.
You knew that. She lived with your sister a long time. And she didn't take out money for clothes or incidentals or anything else. She paid for it.
But at the time, I also was married, and my ex insisted that we do that, and it's hard to say no. I mean,
it's hard to say no. You understood that Angela had lived with your sister most of a substantial portion of her life. She had this settlement money. The money was relatively intact. So all of a sudden, you adopt her. Quick, go to the bank, take out her money, and spend it. That's outrageous. I mean, I don't know what else to say to you. Except to say that you're suing for the maximum amount of jurisdiction of this court, which is $5,000. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
You got it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I know I was in the wrong.
I just hope we can all go back to the way things were before.
I'm just glad it's all done and over with.
All I ever wanted is to put things back the way they were.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Casey versus